The general idea of this sort of choosing this tree was the pot had actually had a small hairline fracture in it, and over the course of the last year, it basically the tree broke the pot that it was in. So, Bob, would you mind talking a little bit about
the tree? Has kind of an interesting history. In 1935, my parents bought some property, 25 acres of land. On it was a Gravenstein apple tree, and my dad got a chance to graft a red Gravenstein, which is Gravensteins are kind of striped green and red. This red Gravenstein is almost all red. In about 1993, we took a tour with John Naka over to Japan, and became pretty good friends. And there were 7 people from the Portland Bonsai Society that went, and we decided to have a reunion, which happened in our backyard the next year. And John walked around there and stood underneath this apple tree and pointed up and says, "Air layer that." And at that stage in my career, I'd do anything that John said to do. So that's how it came about.
How big was the branch that you layered? What was the diameter?
It was about that big, but not an awful lot smaller than that. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 grafts or 5 trees that I air layered off. They air layer really well.
Thank you, Bob. I also wanted to recognize Nao Tokutake, the Portland artist who created this beautiful pot. Oh my goodness, and is also donating it to the museum. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nao Tokutake, and I made the pot. I met Aarin at the Pacific Bonsai Expo in Oakland last year, and he approached me about potentially making a pot for this tree. And it's an apple, and that happens to be the symbol of my hometown in Japan, which is Nagano, Japan. They're very famous for apples, so I jumped at the opportunity to make a pot for an apple tree. So I took the apple design kind of literally in the pot. So Aarin was talking about the shape of the sides. My pot is actually designed to look like an apple, so it actually has the profile of an apple. And if you tilt the pot forward, it has 4 lobes like an apple. And the feet have apple leaves, sort of a leaf design on the feet. Yeah, it's a sort of an apple-like lobe design. And the glaze is actually made with apple ashes. So I kind of took that apple idea to the max. And so it's an ash glaze. The flame hit the pot in the front there, and that made sort of a redness come out. But the kind of green color comes from copper, and it's designed to show, when the tree's in flower in a few weeks, it'll be pink. So the pink, the bright pink and the bright white will contrast nicely with the dark blue. And then the other idea is in the fall, the leaves will be bright yellow. So to have a bright yellow leaves with the green glaze will also look nice. So I think it'll be a nice, addition to the museum to have all time of the year. But in terms of repotting these, I don't think it'll be any easier to get that thing out of there because of the shape, right? But it's a new design. I don't know that anyone's done it. It's a traditional Chinese mokuo design, is what it's called. But I put feet in the center, which is what you would see on a bag pot in Japan. So it's sort of a modern, antique design. Yeah. And it looks like an apple. Thank you.
Meeting now at the Pacific Bonsai Expo
was one of my top priorities. Having heard of his work, you know, over the last few years, he's quickly become really well known in definitely in the Portland bonsai community, and even beyond that with his quality of his ceramics he's making. And I think he kind of touched on that idea of what he's sort of bringing to the larger bonsai community as a ceramicist. You know, someone who's able to create bonsai containers in a more traditional aesthetic. You know, we have a lot of American potters who are, you know, doing a not quite true to form Japanese shapes and glazes, and I think. You know, when Nao came here to see the tree, he was really excited to see a lot of the Japanese pots from our collection. And so just being a student of the Japanese ceramic is something he's very passionate about. But that idea of kind of blending the traditional and giving it more of a modern uptake or a modern interpretation is how I kind of see Nao's work evolving. And to sort of see this again as this kind of modern rendition of this very almost pre-Japanese, Chinese form of bonsai container is really interesting to just to hear that from you. I wasn't really aware of that, and so I think it does though just kind of naturally work with your, as what I see your contribution is to the community and bringing this sort of modern Japanese aesthetic to the containers. And you know, if you guys weren't at the expo, you know, of all the vendors there, Nao had a line of people just lined up waiting to get his containers. It was kind of like a Black Friday sale at his table because you know, not just him, thankfully a lot of the ceramicists were doing very well, but now in particular people were really excited to buy some of his pots. And I don't know how quickly he sold out, but it seemed you didn't have much left after the first 2 hours of the show opening. We're not looking to do this anytime soon. And one of the worst things is to repot a tree and you don't quite get it just how you want it. And then for the next 3, 4, 5 years, you got to look at it, and every time you look at it, you just kind of kick yourself because you didn't nail it. You do it a few times, and then you're like, okay, let's take the time and get it right here. So I'm going to build that back up again, get the mound in the middle, slightly favoring the back of it, kind of go again.
Beautiful addition.
You should look at the pot that came out of the bottom.
Couldn't imagine this.
On
This
the
is amazing.
yeah.
I mean, lacquer does last in moisture. I don't know. I go to measure and study.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you the.